So as I said, I'll do numeric arrays in one program. I'll do characters array in another program. I haven't done a two-dimensional string array, which could be like another example. But as I said, I can only do as much in 3 hours as I can. The rest has to come from you. You have to practice. So I did the string arrays last time, and I let you do numbers array. So hopefully things were okay. I had some students come and ask for help. I put in 6 extra office hours last week, and I'm ready to do so also this week if you're interested in coming for extra help. Okay. Okay, let's look at it. So what I've done is, as I have said, to keep things very simple, I have taken a constant called rows so that you can associate, oh, this is rows. Everybody kind of can say rows go this way, right? And I have 4 columns and they go this way. Another variable that I need is my scanner. I've called it input, which I've been using from day one. And I've made these as class variables. That's all I need at the class level. Because all other communication within methods will go via parameters and everything. I don't want to create everything at class level and say, oh, everybody can see everything. Now let's look at how to declare a two-dimensional array. So look at the statement which is declaring a numbers, which is a two-dimensional array. Very similar to one dimension. The only extra thing is I put another square brackets. That tells me that numbers is a two-dimensional array. Have I allocated space to yet? No, I've only declared it. I've only told the compiler that numbers is going to be a two-dimensional. Like in x, where you say x is an integer. Or float y, you are saying y is a floating. Or you say string name, where name is a string. So I have declared an array. The most important thing to remember in arrays is a declaration is not enough. You have to allocate space to it. Only then can you work with it. You didn't have to do this for basic data types. You said int x and then you could use x. You could say float y and you could use y. And string name, and you could use name without saying give me space for it, just because string is special in Java, because it's so commonly used in our daily lives and in programming. The programmers said, who made Java, said, okay, don't ask for space, I'll give you space for the string. I know a string is a collection of characters. Behind the scene, what is a string? Think about it. You've done a single dimensional array now. A string is nothing but a single dimensional array of characters. That's what a string is. Right? A string, A N J U, what is it? Collection of characters. And it is a one-dimensional array of characters. So when you give a string, behind the scenes, it is kept in a one-dimensional array of characters. Therefore, you can say, what is the first character? What is the length of my string? Can you tell me whether A is present? You can ask so many questions of it because it has saved your string in a one-dimensional array. And to signify that there is nothing more, it puts the null character at the end. So it allocates, so you say string name, and suppose you assign undue to it. This is what happens in memory. A one-dimensional character array is created. It is given 4 of size 4 because that's what you initialized it to, and a \0. We just say it's terminated by. For you, you don't have, and that's what gets created. And name points to this. That's what happens behind the scenes. So a string is a one-dimensional array of characters. Keep that in mind. Therefore, you can say, what is the character at position 1? It will tell you n. You can ask, what's the length of my string? It will return 4 to you. Right? Because it can look into the array and look at each element of the array. So all methods can be used. So string is a class. Keep in mind. So now here I've only declared an array. I haven't allocated any space to it. You'll say, then you cannot use it. No, I cannot. Till I allocate space to it, I cannot use it. 2, I've declared a float array here. And instead of going new or anything, please notice how, if you want to kind of put it on different lines to see it clearly, this is what I've initialized my float array to. So notice there are 3 rows. Each of the rows is in curly brackets, and each of them has 2 elements. So what is the size of this array? 3 into 2. 3 rows and 2 columns. So 3 rows and 2 columns. Each of the row has 2 columns. That's the size of this array. So total elements, 3 into 2, 6 elements. Right? So now that I have initialized this array like this, I mean, I could have written it in one line, but this makes it a little more neater. That's another way of initializing an array. Now, automatically, by doing this, I have been allocated 6 spaces. 3 into 2, 6. And it looks like this. So now in memory, remember, memory is linear. Memory is not a two-dimensional memory. It is linear. So it will put all those 6 elements together, but from our point of view, because we are humans, from our point of view, this is what has happened. You have an array with 2.5 and 1, 3.5 and 4.5, second row, and 5.75 and 2. Right? This collection has been given a name and we called it marks. So marks of my first student, marks of my second student, marks of my third student, and so on and so forth. Right? But I must tell you that in memory, it is still stored linearly. Memory is linear in nature. Memory is not two-dimensional. So you'll say, then how does it know what is what? And that's our job. As a programmer, we have to know what is this element called, what is this element called, what is this called, and so on. Okay, so this element is called marks, the family name. Which row? 0th row. Which column? 0th column. That's the first element of your array. Marks 0, 0. In a single dimensional array, you are using 1 dimension. In 2-dimensional array, you are using 2 values. Which row, which column? Right? What is this element? Array name. What row is it in? 0. What column is it in? 1. That's my second element. Now, guess this one. Which row is it in? 1. Which column? 0. Perfect. That's your third element. So now these elements have name. In your single dimensional array, they had names, remember? What was this called? num0, num1, num2, and so on. That's what their names were. So you used a for loop and you kind of said, oh, it's easy, I can browse through them. Now here also you will do the same thing. What is this element? Marks, first and second column. So second row, second column. Remember, because we start with 0, our numbering goes 1 behind actually where it is. This is your third row. So third row means 2, and first column means 0. Right? What about this one? Third row and second row. There. Those are their names. And that's how you will talk to them. So if I say, what is the element marks 1, 1? The answer is 4.5. If I say, what element is present at marks 2, 1? You will say 2. Right? So that's what their names are. Except in Java, we don't kind of put a comma. We kind of write them as separate brackets. In some languages, you put a comma, but in Java, you put them in 2 separate square brackets. Okay? So this marks array has been declared and defined. It has space allocated to it. So you have allocated 3 into 2, 6 elements. Which type? Float elements. So 3 rows and 2 columns. So you have a 2-dimensional array defined. But in the first one, it doesn't exist. Nothing exists. Numbers is just nowhere. I can't use it till I say, give me space for it, and then you put values into it and you work with it. Right? So now in this one, it's fine. So there are 2 ways of initializing an array. One with the reserved word new, how many do I want? And 2 by initializing it like this. The same way that you did in your single dimensional. Both options are available here also. So let's look what I've done. I've displayed the purpose of my program. Then I've displayed the marks. So I call a method called display marks. So display purpose is simply saying this program demonstrates reading and displaying 2D numeric arrays. Let's look at how do you display marks. Let's pay attention. Important now this. Now your aim is what? You can display them this way. 2.51, 3.5, 4.5, 5.7 and this. You can display it this way, row-wise. Or you have the option of displaying them column-wise. It depends on you. whatever you like. So think about it logically. You have to do a job 3 times this way, and in each of these 3 times, you have to do a job 2 times. Make sense? So you have to do something. So you have to browse your array top to bottom, how many rows? 0 to row minus 1. And for each row, you have to browse from 0 to columns minus 1. So now you need 2 for loops. A for inside a for, which is called a nested for. Okay. Now, since I do not know the length, I just initialized it. I don't know how many. Like, I won't go back and say, oh, there were 2 rows and there were 3 columns. The system should be able to tell me how many rows and how many columns. Like in a single dimensional array, there was the length. So is it here. So how many rows do you have? Marks.length. Right? So length will return you the number of rows in marks. So this, it tells you how many rows do you have. So this is my outer loop, which starts from 0, goes on till marks length minus 1. Remember, since it is 0, it will go on till minus 1. So therefore, there is the less than sign and not equal, and I plus plus. Now, pick up the first row. How many columns in that row? I'm not going to go back. You may change that array on me and I will say, oh, you've changed it, I have to change it. So I'm writing code that is generic. It will always work if you change the floating value. It doesn't matter what you put in the middle. Now, the first element, the first row is called marks I. Right? Notice this. So 0, 1, and 2. So each row is called marks 0, marks 1, marks 2, marks 3. That's the name of the row. And then the length of each of the row can be again found out by length. So how many elements in each row? Start from 0 and go on till the length of that particular row. So what will it do? It will start with the first row. In the first row, 0, it will pick up the 0th element. It will print it out. I is 0, j is 0. I will be 0. This loop will finish completely and then I will increase it. So I is 0, j is 0. 0, 0 will be printed. J will go, what is the length? Length is 2. So j will now become 1 and it will then print 0. If you want, I can print the values of I and j for you so that it makes sense to you. So here where I'm printing, I'll do another print for you. So I'm going to say system so that you can see how it is working. Let's do a print ln. Just for, because I'm going to rub it up. I mean, I'm going to remove it afterwards. What's the value of I? And then what's the value of j? So the loop within a loop. I will take 0 and j will take all the values from 0 till length of that I. In our case, 0 and 1. Right? It prints out the value of I is printed, the value of j is printed for you, and then it prints out the marks. When this for loop finishes, I've put an extra, just empty println, so now the printing will start from the next line. Otherwise, printf just keeps on putting it on the same line, right? And then I will increase again. It will go back. Now I will become 2, which is 1 for us. And then it will again repeat this for this and this. I now becomes 3 and j becomes 0 and 1. So kind of think in your mind how the printing is being done. So this is I is equal to 0, I is equal to 1, and I is equal to 2, right? What about in each of the I? J is equal to 0, j is equal to 1. As I've said, I'm keeping it simple, fixed size. Right? If there were extra elements or whatever, some had 2, some had 3, still I would know the length of each of my elements. So the number of rows is given by marks.length. The number of elements in each row is given by marks I.length, where I is saying which row are you on. Right? So the length on the array name tells you how many rows. And the length on each of these rows tells you how many columns in each of these rows, which tells you that they can vary. Some may have 2 elements, others may have 3, others may have 5, others may have 7. Right? So this should print out the array for you. So for a two-dimensional array for reading purposes and writing purposes, you need a nested for loop, a for loop inside the for loop. The outer for loop goes on rows usually. You can change it. You say, no, I want to read my values column wise. Sure, go ahead. The outer loop is column wise and the inner loop is row wise. But in Java, because a two-dimensional array is an array of arrays, it's a row, how many? Second row, how many? Third row, how many? So in a Java, you will go, how many rows do you want to read? And in each row, how many columns do you want to read? So this should print out my array like this. 2 in a line, next line, 2 in a line, next line, 2 in a line. Why 2 in a line? Printf percentage point to some blanks. So this is doing a printf doing the same line. When I'm finished this inner for loop, I put an extra printf. It goes to the next line before I changes to the next. So for a two-dimensional array, you need an nested for loop. The outer loop says how many rows and the inner loop says how many columns. So I've initialized it, so I'm not reading it, but in the second A, I will read it. This is only printing. Printing is easier to see because you're seeing something. You're not asking something of the user. Let's see how this works. How does display marks work? Any questions on display marks? I just gave it a heading here. I wrote a loop that goes from I0 till how many rows I have. I don't know how many. I initialize it, but I don't know how many. I'm not going to use 3, 2. I'm not going to use magic numbers. And then I said there are these many elements in this row. And I've shown you how many there are. This will tell you how many elements in each row. So I've kind of said I plus 1 because it's very odd. It says row 0, row 1. For human beings, it will say row 1, row 2, row 3, which makes more sense, right? Therefore, I've written an I plus 1. Then I spit out the elements for you. I write them down. How do I access each element? The name of the array, the row number, the column. Row number goes from 0 to how many rows minus 1? Yes, sir. And J goes from 0 to how many in each row minus 1? Because counting starts from 0. If it was from 1, you would have said from 1 to 10, from 1 to 8. But for whatever reason, whoever created arrays, numbering starts from 0. Okay, so you have to keep in mind if the length is L, then I have to go from 0 to L minus 1, otherwise you get array outs of bounds exception. You can't go below 0, you can't go beyond L minus 1. That's how it works. That's what the boxes are called. So it's kind of saying student 0, student 1, student 2, instead of saying student 1. So if there are 23 students in my class, their names are student 0, student 1, student 2, student 3, student 2. I mean, you just have to kind of make that connection in your head. 0, the first element has index 0. The second element has index 1. So now see, a two-dimensional array needs 2 indices. Why? One for which row are you on, and one for which column of the row you are. So it needs 2 indices. Therefore, it is a two-dimensional array. Okay? Now let's see if it prints. So I'm going to, just for printing, I'm going to comment out the others just to show you the print. So display purpose is okay. I'll kind of remove this and this for now. So purposes will be displayed and your marks will be displayed. Here are your marks. And I've kind of put them on the board. So let's see if the program works. Let's compile it. Let's go to BlueJ, do a demonstration of it. So it's not neat because I've put in more information, but I can make it neat. So I'm spelling. That's my marks list. There are 2 elements in row 1. And then I showed you 0, 0, and I showed you the 2 values. Oops, print that percentage is missing. So those are the 2 values, 2.5 and 1.2, 3.5 and 4.5, 5.75 and 2.6. If I really want to make it pretty, then I remove the extra IJs for you and you can see it much pretty. But see how it is varying. I0, J0. What is the next one? I0, J1. I'm in the same row. Then I changes. I1, J0. Start again. I1, J1. Row changes. I2, J0. Start again. I2, J1. So you can think of it like this. First row, second row, third row. In each of the rows, first column, second column, third column, fourth column. So I need a for loop 0 length minus 1, and then for each row 0 to length minus 1. And that's exactly what it is printing. 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 2 0 2 1. See, 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1 2 0 2 1. It's exactly printing. Now to make it pretty, because it's so untidy, just because I put in so many printing statements, to make it pretty, you can do this. Anything that is extra, I'll remove. I'll comment it out. Just so that it's neater. So I showed you this, I'll kind of comment it out. There are these many rows here, I'll comment it out. Just for the heck of it. I'll just comment it out. Okay, now let's see how it looks. The whole idea is you should understand, oh, I'm at row 2, I'm at row 1, I'm at row 3. So see, I've said row 1, row 2, row 3 to make it clean for us. But it is row 0, row 1, and row 2. And let's now run it. Let me clear this for you. Let me go back. Let me demonstrate it again. There. Right? That's exactly what was in my marks list. So I went through all the rows, and then in each row I went through all the columns. That's how you print in a two-dimensional array. And how did I change one line to another line? When J finished, I wrote a system out println, go to the next line. Println takes you to the next line. So when a row finished, I went to the new line. But you say, where did the row finish? The row finished when the for finished. So here is the for, and then I put an empty println. What will it do? Go to a new line. So the whole purpose was to show you that there are these many elements in each row, and what is the element? I0, J0, whatever. So it was just showing you. If I kind of remove those things or remove those statements so that I don't confuse you, what I get is this printout. So if you want to show 0, 0, and so on, I can show that too. That's the 0, 0th element, that's the 0, 1th element. I mean, the aim is not to make it pretty right now. The aim is to make you understand right now. Right? So I showed you how many elements are there in each one of them. This was to say how many elements in each row. And notice this much. So you can find the number of rows by saying marks.length. You can find the number of columns in each row by going marks I, where I is your row. Row 0, row 1, row 2, dot length. Right? So whatever, however makes sense to you. But the aim was to show you, oh, that's what it is. I00, I11, and so on and so forth. Right? So if you like, I can put it or remove it. Whatever. Really doesn't matter. Whatever makes sense. So that's how you print a two-dimensional array. So we know how to declare a two-dimensional array with hard-coded values. I didn't ask the user. They're hard-coded. So not very useful. Usually what's it? You will take input and you will produce something. Right? That's more useful. But there sometimes you have a list already made for you and you are just kind of printing it out. So that's what it is. I had a list. In the list, I had 3 students. Each student had marks in 2 subjects. If I wanted, I could give a heading like marks for student 1, marks for student 2, marks for student 3. I can make it as pretty as I like. It's just printing, right? The aim is that you understand that a for inside a for has been used. The outer for runs from 0 to the length of the two-dimensional array, right? -1. And for each row, it runs from 0 to the length -1 of each. Okay, that's what you have to put in your head. Now, that was the easy thing to do. The array was already ready and I spit it out. The second thing, how do you read values into it? So suppose now I say, oh, it's like entering something. How do I do that now? So let's do. It won't be very different. You'll have to do the same thing. The only thing is now you're reading input. So here is the reading, get the numbers. Okay, what have I done in get number? So we'll look at a method independently. It doesn't matter who is calling it and from where it is being called. This method get numbers takes no parameters and returns a two-dimensional array. Numbers is a two-dimensional. Where is it? Look at line number, the first line in the code. I've declared an array called numbers, a local array called numbers. I've said new. Give me space for it. What do you want? Ints. So int. How many rows and how many columns? You would have asked the user how many rows and how many columns, and then given it space. Again, I am keeping it a little simple, right? I'm saying, okay, these many rows and these many columns. Rows and columns have already been defined as constants. But you can say how many rows do you want, how many columns do you want, and you can create a two-dimensional array of any size. Keep in mind, rows should be of int type, columns should be of int type. Any int type, short, byte, int, long will not be, long cannot be. And when you access an array element, you have to say the name of the array, square bracket, the row, another square bracket, the column. And again, this I and j, the row and the column have to be int types. It cannot be a float type. Okay, and in int you can use byte, short, and let's read an array without anything else, nothing, just a loop. So I have prompts for numbers, creates 3 rows each with 4 numbers. So now see, I'm saying create. So this is how you create a two-dimensional array. The marks was initialized using curly brackets. That's one way of doing it. This is the second way of doing it. You say new. You say, give me a new array. What is the type of my array? Int. How many rows do I need? Whatever is the value in rows. 3. And how many columns do I need? 4. Of course, you can change it for each run and it will work. Now, how do I read it? How many elements in total you have to read? You have to read 12 elements in total. The first row should have 4 elements. The second row will again have 4 elements. And the third row will again have 4 elements. So what is the outer loop? You have to, the outer loop means 3 rows. I equal to 0, I equal to 1, I equal to 2. You have to do this job 3 times. And in each of these, you have to do a job 4 times. First element, second element, third element, fourth element. Why? Because your columns are 4. You have to repeat this again now for the second row. First element, second element, third element, fourth element. You have to repeat this job again for the third row. First, second, third, fourth. So think of it. Outer loop. I have to do a job as many times as the number of rows. So from 0 to rows minus 1. Therefore, I say less than rows. You can say less than equal to rows minus 1 if you want. That automatically means less than. And for each of this row, I have to prompt how many numbers? 4. That's the inner loop. So j grows from 0 to columns minus 1. And what do I say? I say, please enter the element, and I show the position. Just so that you can see, it will say 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, and so on. If you exactly want to see it as Java stores it, we'll put it into square brackets. So it will say enter element at 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, so that you can visualize it again. Again, of course, I won't ask it like this if I was doing a real time, because the poor user or whoever is using my program doesn't know what these indices are, 0, 1, 0, 1. I would just say, give me your first number, give me your second number, give me your third number, something like this, right? Or I'll say, give me the marks for the first student, second assignment marks, third assignment marks. So my messages will be pretty and meaningful. But again, the aim here is to explain to you so that you can see, oh, I'm doing the first row, then I'm doing the second row, then I'm doing the third. And it's a normal input statement. It's a normal input statement. So I've used a printf. It will say enter element, and I'm asking the element at every new line so that it's not jumbled. So again, a nested loop. No different from display. In display, you were spitting it out, and in input, you are reading it. And where are you saving it is the most important. Notice, where am I assigning it? I will be 0 for the first one, and then j will take values 0, 1, 2, 3. Right? Then I will become 1. and j will take again values 0, 1, 2, 3. Then I will become 2 and j will again take values 0, 1, 2, 3. So the outer loop, the inner loop is nested inside the outer loop. What it means is I will take 0 and then j will take all the values 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3. Then I will become 1. J will take values 0, 1, 2, 3. Then I will become 2 and j will take values 0, 1, 2, 3. So how many did you ask? 3 into 4, 12 values. And where are you saving it? This is very important. This notation is important. Ith row, jth column. I takes values 0, 1, 2, 3 rows. And j takes values 0, 1, 2, 3. I took a rectangular array. You could have taken a square array. Doesn't matter. Array is any number of rows, any number of columns. And I'm keeping it fixed. I'm saying, okay, every row has the same number of elements. Just for your information, this is not true in Java. You can create rows of different length. I'm not going there. I know it's a little tough. They're called jagged links. Like a jaggy, that's why they're called jagged links. Another language also gives it. I think C# also gives you that option of creating one. So keep in mind, a two-dimensional array in Java is an array of arrays. So it's an array, and each of the array element is an array again. Okay, let's try to now read these numbers. And then all I've done is I've spit them out. The spitting is no different. Rows, columns, spit out, go to a new line. Right? So this is same thing, two nested loops required. But what is important here is I declared a local array, I filled it with values, and I returned it. When it was returned, it went into a local array of main. Main is just a local array here. It didn't have any space, but now it was assigned a space. You'll say, oh, it didn't have space. How can you give it something? Keep in mind, I don't know if you can remember from last week, I said arrays are reference variables. Reference means you're sharing. So what did you do? In your method, you created an array. So in your method, you created an array of 3 rows and 4 columns. 1, 2, I'll kind of write it. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. And you can add the row number if you want. This is what you created. Oops. So you read in these values. This was done in a local method, get numbers. It had a name. The name doesn't matter at all. It was called numbers. And this array was saved somewhere in memory, and that address is M. Right? Now you're returning this address back to the main method. When the address is returned, this still stays. You'll say, but you told us the scope of variables is when a method is called, they take birth, and when a method finishes, they all die. But these are reference. We are working with objects now. That was true for data types, ints, floats, doubles, chars. Those were basic data types. For objects, anything that you create in a method, if you return the method, you return the object, what is returned is the address of the object. So the address tells you, oh, there are where the numbers are. So main didn't ask for space. The method asked for space, created the array, so the space is there, and returned where is the array, it returned the address to numbers. So though numbers looks like as if it is a two-dimensional array, number is actually a pointer to this two-dimensional array. That means it has the address where this array is. So all objects in Java, including string, all objects in Java are passed by reference. Everything is done reference. So I can use it in my main. So main, I didn't ask for any space, but the method created it and said, there they are. You can share them. So there is no need of a new here at all. This is what we'll get. Get numbers is returning the address of that array that was created in the method. That address, numbers knows about it now. Numbers can work with it. So now if I want to display it, I just call the display method. So at the end of the day, all you need is to understand its structure. How many rows? How many columns? How do I access each of them? A loop inside a loop. I going from 0 to how many rows, and j going from 0 to how many columns. That's all you need to kind of understand. Then, of course, the logic is something that comes in. But these are the basic things that you have to understand for a two-dimensional. How do I access a two-dimensional array? One, how do I declare it? How do I ask space for it? How do I fill it with values? How do I display the values? That's all I've done in this small method so that you can grasp it. There is no other logic in this. It's just these three things. Declaring, defining, printing, debugging. Right? Now let's see whether it works or not. So let's run it again now. So after displaying the two-dimensional array, it should start for those 12 numbers for me. Why did I write 12 for you? Because I wanted to show you that 3 into 4 is 12. I didn't write 12. I said rows into columns. I'm not doing anything. I'm not hard coding anything. Now, enter element at 0, 0. This is now, of course, in the real world, if it was a game or something, I wouldn't write it like this, enter element at 0, 0. I would say something like, where is your, or where do you want to shoot or something? Give me the coordinates, something like that. I mean, it would be a message that will make more sense, right? But here to show you that this is what I'm doing. So I've started with row number 0, column number 0. And this was an int array. Negative, positive doesn't matter. So I'm going to give 1. Okay, it took it. It says now give me 0, 1. Notice how the row number is still 0. So I'm going to say 2. It says, okay, now give me the third element of row 1. I'm going to say 3. There are 4. There. Now notice row number has changed. So in the first 4 inputs, the row number was same. 0, 0, 0, 0. I was 0. And j changed. The first element, the second element, the third element, the fourth element. We'll say, why is it asking 4 times? The loop is going till 4. Columns is 4, rows are 3. So 0, then it will do the same job with 1 4 times. Then it will do the same job with 2 4 times. And then it will end. Why? Because we only have 3 rows. So you're asking for 12 values. The first 4 values are going into the first 4 in the first row. The second 4 values are going in the second row. And the third set of 4 values is going in the third row. You have to visualize this in your head, right? You have to. There is no other way to kind of think of it. So therefore, I'm kind of showing you the indices. And then I'm printing it like an array so that you see it. And again, I can remove this. This is just to show you how many elements. So extra work is done so that you can see it. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Now again, 1, 0. It could be anything. -5, 4, 12. It's just an array of integers. See, I've started with 2, 0 now. So for second row, first column, second column, third column, fourth column. Second row. Outer for loop. Now the loop has changed. I is now gone to 2. And again, j will start from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So 6 and a 4 and a 5 and a 6. There's my array. It's not looking too neat because there are different sizes, but that's what I gave it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, -5, 3, 12, 34, 6, 4, 5, 6. Of course, I can make it neater by using printf, giving the same size to every element and it will start looking. That's the idea. That's what numeric arrays are. Right? So numeric two-dimensional arrays can be either of type integer, any type, short, byte, whatever, or of type float or double. The indices, you require 2 indices to access each element. The first index tells you the row number. The second index tells you the column number. Or if row and column doesn't make sense to you, you can say the first tells you the horizontal position. The second tells you the vertical position. Whatever you can put in your head to kind of understand it. I call it rows and columns because it's, I mean, everybody understands rows and columns more than horizontal and vertical, right? Everybody understands rows and everybody understands columns. And that's what they call it in the programming language terms also, rows and columns. So it's looking, there it is, it's done. You now know how to declare and define a two-dimensional numeric array, read values into it, and spit them out. Okay. And as I said, to make it neater, all I have to do is just wherever I printed it. So where did I print it? Somewhere, of course, I printed it. Display purpose, get the numbers. I just have to make it pretty. Here. So every one I'll give maybe, I don't know, 4D here. So everyone will get 4 spaces. So now it will start looking neater. When I said D, by default, whatever was its value. 4D, 5D, 6D, whatever you like. It will start looking neat now. And similarly, when your display marks, if you, I think we said 0.2F there. You can also say how many is my total length. For each one, I want to give 8 as my total. You can even do that. So 8 in total, 2 after decimal. It will start looking better. It's depending upon what, they were all of the same kind, same size. It's just a matter of printing, nothing else. And we've done printf. So I would highly recommend that use printf wherever you can and get into the habit. So I'm going to give of different sizes: 12, 123, -5, 1, 2, 3, 4. So just to show you that they're of the, oh, what it was the maximum size I gave. Oops, I said 4D. Okay, 4 is, I won't go beyond 4 otherwise, and it won't even leave space now. Anyway, no problem. Didn't even think of it. There, looks much neater. Because I said for each number, give me how much space? 4, 4, 4. And then these were my blanks. You could put a \t or 2/t's or whatever. I just put 4 blanks or something. I can't remember how many. Then all of these are in 4. Notice 123. So there is a 0 here which you can't see. There are 2 blanks here which you can't see. There are 3 blanks. But they've started to look neat. So in the formatting, I just said give the same space to each one of them. And there it is. There's your array. Got it? So this is how you deal with numeric arrays. And all you have to, at least for the fundamental course, learn how to declare, how to define, ask for space by new or by initializing it, how to read values into it, and how to split it out. Of course, then there can be many more things you can do. I can say, oh, add up all the elements in the first row and tell me what the answer is. Add up all the elements in the first column and tell me what the answer is. Add up all, for a student, if these were his or her marks, which doesn't look like marks at all. If these were his or her marks, I could say, okay, add all of them, divide by 4 and tell me the average. This for assignment 1, add up all, divide by how many students will tell me the class average. Then I can do whatever with it, a lot of things with it. Right now I have numbers. So you can find averages, you can find highest, you can find minimum, like anything now. You've done maximum and minimum in your lab loops example. So if in the final exam, I give you an array and I say, can you sum up the first row? You should be able to do it. I is equal to 0, j runs from its length, plus, 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 that's the total. So you have to combine things, put things together. You know how to sum. You know the first row is 0, the second row is 1, the third row is 2. You know the size of each row. You have to take a loop, run it over, add, tell me what the total is. So I'm stopping here because I have to move forward. But with an array, you can do whatever you like with a number. Add rows, all elements, give me the total. Add all columns, give me the total. Add all the elements, give me the sum. Find the average of every column. Find the average of every row. And that's a good hint to say, oh, I should be preparing my 2-dimensional arrays for the final exam. And I should know how to total up and find average. You've already done totaling an average in your 1-dimensional array lab. So you know how to do that. So whatever you have done, I'll mix and match and I'll give it to you in the final exam. So that nothing is new. You've done it somewhere. You just have to put the pieces together. But if you practice it, then you will know it. Okay. Now, I'm going to now go on to a 2-dimensional character array. And I'm kind of emphasizing this. And I've done a little more in it just because I'm going to give you an assignment, and that assignment will be create a word puzzle. Everybody is familiar with the word puzzle? Anybody who's not familiar with the word puzzle? No. Okay. So a word puzzle is something like this. You can Google it, of course. That's one way of learning it. But I'll give you a very rough idea. So it's like a puzzle that has some words in it. So I'm trying to be a little cheeky here. I'll put my words. So A, it, I'm creating a 4 into 4, okay? It is BSIS. It is warm. So the whole thing. And maybe, I don't know, maybe just keep it like this. Now suppose I say search. So this puzzle is given to you. Usually it is of the same, it's kind of usually a square, not necessarily, but usually. So if you look them up, I can put today because I need an extra word. So let's put today also, but that also, no, let's see. Let's put a Z here, let's put a Y here. This is a word, this is a word, this is a word, and this is a word. So a word puzzle is just a jungle of birds. And then you have to look for words in that puzzle. And it's everywhere. You can play it online, you'll see it in newspapers. They used to come in newspapers when they were the newspaper days, right? Like Sudoku. They're everywhere. So your aim in the assignment will be to create a puzzle for you. To create this. So not search or anything. Searching is a little tough, but just creating. And the creating will do what? You will need a character array, 2 by 2 character array. You will say how many words do you want. After that, all you'll say is you will ask for the word. You will put it in the first row, ask for the second word, put it in the second row, ask for the third word, fourth word. Keep putting them in rows, but the extra ones, you can just put any random character in. Any random character. I have the puzzle, and you'll say, now look for it, look for is, look for warm, look for no. So if I gave you this and you had no clue, and you have to look for it, what will you do? You will start scanning, you find an I. The size is 2. Or is it there is an it after T after it? Yes, I found them. And that's more work. Like that's I'm not even asking you to solve the puzzle. I'm only asking you to create the puzzle, which is an easy job. So to create a puzzle, what does that look like? It's a 2-dimensional array. What is the element in each of its position? A character. So you need a 2-dimensional character. So I am doing a 2-dimensional character array with you for the sole purpose that you know how to use it, declare it, put values into it, access it, and so on, so that when you do the assignment, you have some kind of a groundwork on it. Okay, and I've done quite a bit of groundwork. You just have to kind of think about how do I do this. Okay, so keeping that in mind, so the assignment will be posted tomorrow. The rubric will come with it this time, and in the rubric, I've already filled up my expectations so that when I return it to you, I don't have to put any comments at all. I'll just say, I'll choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0, because the comments are already there. I find that putting in comments for 80 students becomes a lot of work. Sometimes the comments are almost the same. So this time I've already put my comments. I'm expecting you to do this, you'll get these many marks. I'm expecting you to do this, you'll get. So I'll just check and you'll have it that way. And I know it's 12th week, so you won't have time to come and see me once the semester ends. So you know why you got what. Though nobody has ever come back to ask me about their rubric, only one. I missed some, just to, yeah. But I give my comments. So I've never had anybody saying, why did I get this mark? So this time I've taken more time to first put in my comments. It took me 4 or 5 hours, but I filled the rubric with comments. I'll give you the rubric. You can see the rubric and you'll say, oh, I can do this. I cannot do this, but I can do this. So let me settle for 2 marks. Let me settle for 1 mark. I won't get any mark if I don't do it. Okay, so you'll have it. I will put it up tomorrow at 3 p.m. or 3 something, it will be up. And tomorrow is Tuesday. I'll give you till next Tuesday for sure to do it. So you will have 1 week and let's do the groundwork today. Okay, so pay attention and ask questions. Okay, so now this class demonstrates how to work with a 2-dimensional character. Right? So it is a 2-dimensional array. I need 2 for loops, same number of rows, columns, everything is the same. Each element is a character. So you know how to ask for space, new character, how to fill it up, we have to think about it. How to print it, we know. And then how to manipulate it, how to put in extra characters. So if you'll ask for a word, put it in the first row. Ask for a word, put it in the second row. ask for a word. It's kind of cheating. I know the words, but I'm making the puzzle. But definitely I'm not playing it. Somebody else plays it, right? So you are creating the puzzle, and then if you say Anju search for bomb, then I'm the player. So you're creating a puzzle for me to play. But of course, the logic is not letting me play. It just shows me the puzzle and shows me these are the words. Then it's up to me to kind of look for them. Okay, so the playing part is me, but creating the puzzle is you. Okay, so now let's look at how to work with the character array. So please pay attention. I've kind of in bits and pieces given you things that I've asked in the assignment. They may seem, why is she doing it? But when you see the assignment, you'll say, oh, she told us how to do it. Now all I have to do is manipulate. Okay? Okay, how do I declare an array? So this is a two-dimensional array, and I kind of given it quite my comment so that you understand. He says, declare a 2D character array, no memory is allocated. Every row will store a name. Why? What is a character array if you think this? So I can store a name in it. Anju or Elias or Patricia, Shani, whatever. I can store names in it, right? Because at the back end, what is a name? A name is an array of characters. So that's what I'm going to do in this program. I'm going to create an array, and then in each array, I'm going to store a name, right? And how will you read a name? Next line. You'll take it and you'll put it in the first row. Second name, put it in the second row. Third one, put it in the third row, and so on, right? That's what you have to do. And that's exactly what you have to do in the word puzzle with something extra. I will always start from position number 1. But in the puzzle, you may put the word anywhere. I may put IT here, IT here, IT here. So as long as it fits wherever it can be put at the first position, the second position, the third position. That's it. I can put it up in the fourth because fourth is only 1. I need 2 spaces. You say, how will I know the length? There is a length method of doing this. Okay. So I'm showing you how to read in a character array, and I'm reading names. You don't have to read names, you just have to read some words. But a name is a word. Okay. So every row will store a name. As a 2-dimensional array, you need to save the name. Yes, a 1D string array would do. I could create a 1-dimensional array of strings, and each one has a string. But I don't want to do that. I want to use a 2-dimensional array. And this is how you declare it. And this is the size of it. And I will do these many rows and these many columns. So I'm keeping a same number of rows and same number of columns. Not necessarily. How many names do you want to keep? 30. What is the maximum size of the name you will save? 20. So I'll create 30 rows and 20 columns. Sometimes the whole row will be taken. Maybe somebody's name is 20 characters. Sometimes there will be extra spaces and things. Right? So some rows may be full, some rows may be half full, some rows may be only 3/4 full. So I have extra space. That's okay. That's what happens with arrays. That is the disadvantage of arrays. Therefore, arrays in today's world are no longer used as they were 2 decades back. Why? Because with arrays, we have to know how many. Whereas there are more data structures available now in every programming language, including Java, like array list, hash map, tree map. That doesn't ask you how many. Keep filling. Till I have memory, keep giving me and I'll keep putting. And then you can ask, how many did I save? So you can put the onus on the computer to your program. How many names have I put? Oh, 10. Okay. So you don't have to tell the size before you begin. You can ask the size after you have filled it. So those will come in your future courses. You will do an array list maybe with me next week. I'm not very sure. With 1 week left, I have a little more to do. I want to introduce you to classes because it's in your course content. Unfortunately, because we missed 2 weeks, we kind of are a little behind. I'm rushing it, but I am still doing everything that's in your contents. Okay. So here, I have given size a value of 5, but you can always get the size from the user. You can say, what's the size of your array? So I've given it a 5, but you could do whatever. Then I created it. You can do new char size. How many did I get? 5 into 5. 25 characters can be saved in this array. Then for your information, for your information, if you do not put anything in a character array, every character contains this. You'll say, what is this character? Is it a blank? No, it's not a blank. It's called the null character. And it is non-printable. Nothing will print. It doesn't print. So to you, it will appear, oh, it's an empty array. But it's not an empty array. It's the null character. Okay? So the null character is non-printable. So when I try to display it, you will see that nothing will be printed. It will be blank because each element is null. So there's nothing in it, but it's not empty. Keep in mind, empty is different from null. Empty is opening quote, a space bar closing. So that's different. But this is the null character and it's non-printable. I can't even see it. But I am telling you this and you have to take my word for it that the null character is not printable and every element in a character array is initialized to it. So if I display it, you will see an empty array. So I'm going to kind of do it for you. I'm going to comment this out. I'm going to comment this out, and this out, and this. What does my program do? My program creates a 5 into 5 character array with 5 rows and 5 columns and allocates memory to it. Right? I could have taken 5 as a constant and done it. I've left it as a variable because in your assignment you have to get the size of the puzzle from the user. How big a puzzle do you want to do? 4 into 4, 5 into 5, 6 into 6, 7 into 7, 8 into 8, whatever. So you'll have to read a number from the user and I'll give you the validation, or it should be more than 0, less than 20, between 5 and 10, whatever. I'll give you the validation. So you don't know what the size of your puzzle is. So of course it won't be a 0 into 0 puzzle or a 1 into 1 or a 2. Those are small puzzles. We'll have a decent number. Kind of maybe 5 into 5 or 6 into 6 or 7 into 7, something like that. Right? That really doesn't matter. So you will read the size from the user. So I didn't make it a constant. I made it a variable so that if I wanted to read what is the size of your puzzle, I could take it from the user. Okay? So now let's see what does it print on the screen. Let's compile it. Everything else I've commented out. There's nothing except printing that array. And nothing gets printed. It says names list. I don't see anything. Why? Because, and notice how the null character, the double quotes, the single quotes are also empty. There is nothing inside it because it's not printable. You cannot print the null character, but that is the default value of a character in an array. That is its default value. If I wanted, I could put all stars in it and then stars with it. I can put all A's in it and A's with it. Okay? But to begin with, that's my character array. You can't call it empty. It has something, it just is not printed. Right? So the null character, and the null character is also not showing up because it is non-printable. This character, \U stands for Unicode. 0000 is its code. And if you look up what character is this, it is called the null character. And it is not printable. Okay. If you want to now fill it up with something, we will fill it with names. Or you'll say, let me just fill it up with stars. Just star everywhere. I can do that also for you. So let's try that. How will you fill it up with? Let's fill it up with fill with stars. And notice something. I'm going to pass that names array as a parameter. And the method is not returning anything. Why? Because again, names is reference. The address will go. It will be filled with whatever you want. And it will come back automatically. So objects are reference parameters. I don't even need to return anything from this array because I'm passing the array as a parameter. So when objects are passed as parameters, this is called call by reference. The method can look at it and whoever is calling it also can look at it. So they're sharing the same space. So I don't need to return anything. That's another way of passing a array. In the previous example, I returned numbers. Here, I'm not returning it. Here, I'm just passing it as parameters. I'll give you a break. We'll fill this method afterwards. It's giving me an error because it's not present. So somewhere here, just for the heck of it, to show you that, I'll put that method here. right? What will it be? It will be a private method. It has to be static. Returns nothing. Is called filled with stars, and it will take a character array. Oops. It will take a character array, and you can call it whatever you like. You can call it stars if you like. This method is going to this is just to show you. This method fills the names array, names 2D array with stars, with the character star. That's why I called it filled with stars. Okay. So it needs an array from here, and I've passed it an array. Here it's called names. I called it names because ultimately I'm going to work with names. So filling it with stars is kind of whatever. What do you think I should do? Help me. I know the rows, I know the columns. You'll say, how do you know it? The size. We'll pass the size. Fill it with stars. And then I'll display it again for you so that I can prove to you that I filled it with stars. Okay, so pass the size. So size is an int. You can call it size here. It's a square array. So what do I need? A for loop inside a for loop. So for int, start with 0, go on till size. Oops. Go on till size. Every time I plus plus. I'm writing it very, very roughly, but it's the correct thing. Take another integer, j, start with 0. That also goes till size. It's a square array. Increment j every time. I haven't put curly brackets. There is only one for inside the for. You needn't put curly brackets. But it's a good habit to always kind of put curly brackets so that you don't forget, you don't have to. So this is for of I. And then here is a for of j. Always kind of put it right away. Okay, what do you want to do? You want to assign to stars array at the position I, at the position j, you want to assign a star to it. There. Every character gets a star. So 2 for loops, going from 1 to row minus 1. The second going from 1 to column minus 1. I have assigned the character star to each one of them. So notice how I'm assigning a character, single quotes. It's a character array. Here I called it stars. I don't care who's calling it what. When you write a method, please write it as if you don't know anything about anything else. And that's what you should know. I say, okay, code a method that takes 2 parameters, a 2-dimensional character array and its size, and fill it with stars. Doesn't matter whether I need it, or whether Owen needs it, or whether Yuki needs it. It doesn't matter. Or whether Adam needs it. I don't care who needs it. The job is done. So the job of this method is to take as input 2 arguments or 2 parameters. They're called parameters in the method. The first is a 2-dimensional character array. And the second is the size of that 2-dimensional character array. Rows and columns both. If there were 3, then I would give you rows and columns separately. Size is for both. And now I'll print it again and see what will happen. It will now show stars. So what did I do? I called this method fill with stars here. I displayed it first. Nothing was coming. This was what we had. You'll say, is it empty? It is a null character, okay? And then I went ahead and very quickly, I filled it with stars. My method is not returning anything. You'll say, then how come names got filled with stars? Names here is called stars there. They are the same array. They're sharing the same space. How are they sharing the same space? Because they are both objects. Arrays are objects. Objects share space. They are reference parameters. Not with simple data type. In simple data type, values are copied. Therefore, I say they take birth and then they die. So you have to return values. Here now I can now see the advantage. You can have as many parameters of object type and all these are automatically returned. I can now return more than one values from a method by putting them as parameters. Okay, let's see if it works. Do I have a star array now? If there are no compilation errors and if my logic is correct, there they are. So notice how I have how I have lines between that names list and name lists again, because it is printing the null character which is not printed. So therefore you don't see any. So initially, for your information, so that you know, because you may need it in the assignment, the default value of every character in a character array that has not yet been initialized but has been allocated space is the null character. So if you want to check, are you the null character? You can simply do if whatever ij is equal to and put that u. You can say, are you the null character? So I just filled it with stars. So why are there 25 elements? Size was 5. 5 into 5 is 25. So I should have 5 rows and 5 columns. I printed them this way. You could have printed them in a line, but that's not how we want to print a two-dimensional array. We want to print a two-dimensional array so that it looks like a two-dimensional. Right? We'll take a break here of 20 minutes and then come back and do more stuff with character arrays so that you are kind of prepared for your assignment when it is posted tomorrow. Okay, so this is groundwork. So if there are any questions that come into your head while I teach, if you are paying attention, please ask. Okay, this is the best time to ask. I'm preparing you for assignment number 3 worth 15% of your final mark. Okay, the array lab is 5 and it is due by today. And show it to me sometime this week, please, because I'm not here forever. And I'll read out the names of students who have already shown it to me. So we'll take a break and then come back. By that time, I'll kind of also see the names of students who have already shown me their work. So that was November 19th. Okay, showing your work doesn't mean that in the break time that you show me your work, right? I need a break too, right? Don't I? So show me your work means when maybe I give you an assignment, then you show it. Or after class, you come to my office. Or come in my office when my office hours. Guys, everybody needs a break. I also need a break from speaking for 1.5 hours. So let me have some water. I can come back in 5 minutes and start marking, but give me 5 or 10 minutes out of 20, okay? So you take a break, let's say 10, and then come back and we'll start seeing. But the aim of a break is that we both have a break. I'll take half my lunch and then I'll take half after my class. So that comes back in 10 minutes and start looking at stuff.
That's how confident I was that wasn't going to work. So my code is so this is CSS. Yeah. Yeah. One second. It doesn't change. That's why I'm not so frustrated. Yeah. No. She said,
Come bring your laptop. You're showing me that array lab?
Yeah.
Okay, let's run it. It's so small. Okay, so give the first step. Let me do. This program takes numbers from user, put them in array, count some. English is not too good anyway. Then shows all the numbers in. Okay, so how do I stop? Yes. So you should tell me, how should I stop? Are you expecting integers or real numbers? So don't put a number yet, no?
Okay.
But so tell the user that are you expecting negative numbers, positive numbers, real numbers, integers? You have to tell me everything.
Here you can put just from 1 to 10.
No, it says that those many elements, but what is the value to stop? Suppose I give 0, what happens?
It's just you make the array here.
The question was the user can only give in positive numbers.
Yeah.
So how come I give a 0 and it still asks for it?
It asks again.
How do I stop then?
You put the number here.
So I have to put 10 numbers always?
No.
Okay, how?
You create an array here, and then you can put like numbers or stuff. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Enter. Oh, so you're asking me the size of the array.
Size.
Okay. See, you're saying, okay, so you can then say how many elements do you, okay, so that question was not clear. Okay, now I enter all the numbers and enter any word.
Yeah.
What kind of, why would you ask for a word when I'm working with an array? I don't understand. Okay, so if I did not put any numbers in the array, why are you telling me that there are 0005 elements in the array?
I just didn't know how to
Okay, so I'll just note this down because that's what you're showing me, right? Okay, run it again. Okay, so
I
you,
don't know how to do like.
I can tell you,
today.
but then you'll have
Yeah.
to come to my office hour. I can do it right now, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay, so now let's do some. So let's, how many? 5. Okay, so put 2 numbers, 1 and 2,
1,
2, and then put a word. So see, you always show me the extra numbers which are not present. Okay, run it once again. And now give all 5 numbers, okay?
Okay. 1. You can center 0 or
Try 0 negative number. What does it say? Okay. What about 0? Okay. Okay. Go ahead and then fill it up. So how many numbers did you get? 1, something, 8.
1, 5, 8.
Okay. Okay. So now let me. What's your name?
Kirill.
Sorry.
Kirill.
Kirill. M, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that didn't work was, oh, empty list. I don't know why you have stopped by a word. I mean, I have no clue why would we do a word in a numeric array, but that's
But
okay.
you,
But I used a string array.
yeah, but you in your like Word document,
You didn't
said
say anything, so you
said the
assume.
user have to like stop anytime.
Sentinel value. So you chose it to be a
Oh,
word. That's okay. That's up to you. That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying it's wrong. But when
Yeah.
you're asking for numbers, there can be many other things. You could have stopped by 0 because 0 was not allowed. Okay?
will
But
it
that's
decrease
not,
my mark or-
no, it will not decrease your mark. I'm putting notes for myself. Okay?
Okay.
But what will decrease your marks is this. No input, but array still shown, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
And if less number of elements, then you still see, then 0 extra zeros, right?
Yeah.
That's the 2 things. The average is always right, right?
Yeah.
Okay, done.
What
Thank you.
if I downloaded like lab here, but today I like made something new, like changed.
Sure, but then you
mistake.
can.
Can I upload new? I
Yeah, but today is the final day. But then
Yeah,
you
I
have to
know.
come and show it to me again, and that can't
No,
keep happening.
I changed it already. So this program like.
You just showed me something. Then why did you show me what you had to upload it? Show me what you had done.
Yeah, because I found a mistake today.
Okay, so do it, change it, and then show it again.
I've already changed it, and I showed it changed version.
You showed me the changed
Yeah,
version.
yeah.
Okay, and that's what is in the changed
Yeah.
version. Okay, so whatever you've shown me, look, upload it.
Okay.
Okay, and this is what I'll give you marks
Yeah.
for. Okay, okay. Guys, I do need to start the class because otherwise we won't be able to end, right? So after class or whatever, I don't know. Or because if I don't do this, then you won't be able to do your assignment too. 3, which is more important to me. So you have to come in my office hour. It's open like 3 hours a week, or email me and say, Anju, are you around? Last week I was here for 10 hours. You have to take out time to show your work to me, right? If you were not able to finish it in class last week, then it's up to you to come and show it to me. Some people showed it in my math class, which was good. That was fine too. But then I can give you extra time now. After class, if you want. In my office till 3:30. I have a meeting at 3:30. Okay, so does that tell you how to create a character array and how to fill it with something? Like I did stars, but you can fill it with anything. Now what I've done is I have now filled this array with names, very similar to how you will fill your puzzle with words. So I'm going to ask names of the user. Give me the names. How many names can I ask? A maximum of? Size, no more than size, right? Because that's the size of my array. And what should be the length of my name? It cannot be more than the size alone. So when I read a name from you, I'll only read a maximum of 5 names because size is 5. And the restriction is that the length of the name cannot be more than 5. Why? Because the number of columns is also 5. So I'll ask names from you, but I'll do a validation that you only give me 5 names and the length of each name is no more than 5. Same as in your puzzle. If you have a puzzle of 10 by 10, you can ask for 10 words and each word cannot be more than 10 in size. So direct relationship, right? So let's see how do I fill it with names. and then we'll display it again. Look at how do I fill it with names. Same like with star, but with more work, of course. So again, I will need 2 loops. I've chosen to do a for loop outside, but I've chosen to do a do while inside because the name length has to be checked, or it should not be more than 10 characters. So I'm not reading your name 1 character at a time. I'm reading your name as a name, right? A word has to be read as a word. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the outer for loop. The outer for loop works 5 times because size is 5. For each one of them, please input name. And I've told you the length should be less than or equal to the size. And I've taken the name from you. If the length of your name, remember the length method of the string class? We've used it before. It's a method of the string class. You're reading a string. You're reading a string. You've done next line so many times. In your first assignment, you said name of a student was a string. You read a string. If the length of the string is more, you say, I cannot save it. And you ask again, and you ask again. So you keep asking the name till the size of the name is correct. Correct means it cannot be more than 5 characters. Once that is done, then you will save that name inside the array. And notice how I do it. I use now I use the for loop. Start from 0, go on till the length of the name you gave me, and I save it in the array at position I, row, and J. You say, how will you pick up the character by character from your username? The method character act in the string class allows you to pick up the character at position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever is used. So I picked up character, so I took it as a name. Because when you ask somebody's name, you don't say, what is the first character in your name? You ask for a name, and my name is Anju. Now, once I give you Anju, you pick up 1 character at a time, A, N, J, U, by using that method character head. Easy. The method is available. Pick up the character and put it in the array element at position J, starting from 0 till size -1. But maybe the name is short. So what will happen to the rest? The rest will remain none. The rest will remain none. So you give me a name, I put it in the first row. Second name in the second row. Third name in the third row. And so on. How many names can I ask maximum of you? 5. And the size of each name cannot be more than 5. So I ask for 5 names and I put them in the array. How do I put them in the array? I pick up each character at position J from the name. And what is that J position? Starts from 0, goes on till length -1. Please keep in mind there are 2 lengths. This length is a method of the string class. Username is a string. The length of an array is not a method. It's what is returned when you ask an array, what's your length? So that length is an instance variable, and this length is a method. Okay, that's a variable, this is a method. To a string, you can always ask, what's the length? So I ask the length, and I pick up those many characters from the name, and I put it in the array. My array now has names. They all start from position 0. First row, second row, third row, fourth row, fifth row. Now, what will you have to do as a variation in your puzzle? In your puzzle, your name may not necessarily start from the first. This is what you have to do for your puzzle. Suppose the word you input is it. Now, where can you start it? Now, it has size 4. I'm just assuming 4. Okay. You could put IT here, the rest 2 are null characters, right? Or you can put IT here. Start from the second and put the second and the third. Or you can take the third and the fourth position. So it can be placed anywhere. So that's one of your requirements you'll have to think about. You can place the word or the name in any of the positions as long as it can fit. So think about it logically and mathematically. The total size is 4. The size of my word is 2. 4 minus 2 is 2. So I can put it in the 0th position and in the first position. And in this position. And it will work. So once I know the size, so this is your box size, right? It is 4 characters. I'm trying to put 2 words into it. I can either start at position number 1, I can start at position number 2, it will still fit. I can also start at position number 3, it will still fit. I can start at 4 because then it will not fit, right? So how do I find this position 1, 2, and 3? Math, 10 minus the size will tell you till where you can go. And then use the random function to put it randomly anywhere. Either at the first position or at the second position or at the third position, right? So you take the name size should be correct. It should not be more than the size of your puzzle. So a person's name in my case cannot be more than 5 characters. And I am placing it at the first position always because you will do some homework, right? You have to do some extra work. I can't give you the whole solution. But this is telling you how to read a word and how to copy the word into the character array. It tells you that. Your additional work will be, so half work done. Your additional, and I've done the validation also. Your additional work will be, oh, I can place it at position 1. I can place it at position 2, starting at position 2. I can place it starting at position 3, but I cannot place it starting at position 4 because it will not come in 4. There is no 5th here, right? So you will have to find the position where you will be putting your word. I am putting it always at the first position because I don't want to do more work than that. But I've read the name, I've validated it is of the exact size. So part of one of your method is here, right itself. And you can get full marks for reading a word and validating that it is of right size. There's right there. So let's see what happens after I fill the names. So notice, I do this job how many times? As many number of rows as I have, right? I keep reading the name till the size of my name is not less than. So the name size should be less than how many I can accommodate. It's like saying you have 4 boxes. Can you put 5 things inside it? No. So you have 4 columns. Can I put a word greater than of size 4 in it? No. So I read the name from the user, but I ensure that you cannot be more than 5 characters. Why? Because I don't have space. I only have 5 characters space. My array is 5 into 5. And then I put it inside in the array at row number I0 and I put in the name. And I'll display it again for you. So see what happens. So all logic. It's all logic. Okay, so it says now input your name 1. I'll try to give a bigger name. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's more than 5 characters, right? I say, please input name 1. Length should be less than or equal to 5. Now, my messages are not the best. When you write your program, please see that they are grammatically correct, make sense and everything. Though please input name 1 is not a bad message. It's okay. But the word length less than equal to 5 may not be necessarily very non-pragmatic. You could say its length should be not be greater, whatever. I mean, but it's not bad. Okay, this will not be accepted. See, it says the name cannot be more than 5 characters. Why? Because the number of columns in my array is 5. I cannot give more than 5. Can I give less than 5? Sure. So there, it's taken my name, Anju. It's asking for the second name now. Let's go with Elkim. Elkim is 5. Accepted, right? Let's go with my daughter's name. 3, accepted. I'm trying to give all names. Okay. So I've given a 3, I've given a 4, I've given a 5. Oh, I have a student called V in my class. That's only 2. There. Right. So I'm trying to give you all sizes. And 1. Oh, well, A. Look at my array. Now you'll say, how come this stars came automatically? No, I picked them up. Remember they had stars before. If you remove them, then they won't have stars. Nothing will be there. They are null characters. So if I remove that, then you are seeing A and J, my first name in row number 1, nothing in column 5. I'll remove that star for now. Then Elkim has taken all the space. Then comes sign, 2 extra spaces after that. Then comes V, there are 3 extra spaces after that. And then somebody called A, and there are 4 spaces. And that's how you make a puzzle. But instead of stars, what should you have in your puzzle? Any random words. Letters, not words, letters. So from A to Z, any letters. So how do I do that? I'll show you how to do that. I'll give you a trick. Okay. Now your added. Now why do you see the stars? Because the array had stars. That's why. You could do this to begin with. You could fill up your array with random words to begin with. I wouldn't recommend that because you should always start with an empty array. Fill up the names first, and then any slots that are extra, randomly fill them with numbers. Now, why am I saying that? For me, my stars are always at the end. Because I've always put my name starting from the beginning. In a puzzle, this word Anju can start from this position, it will still fit, or can also start from this position, and it will still fit. So the word that you read from the user has to be put at a random position. You know the random class. You've done it in your assignment. I'll show you another example today. It has to be put randomly at any column as long as it is a logical column. I had put it here because it will go A and J. So logically, you can place it anywhere in the row at a logical position. So I can put it in A and J column 1. Or I can put it in column 2, A and J. That's the only two options I have. What about this A? I can put it in this position, in this position, in this position, in this position, and in this position. Any of the positions are allowed. It's a single letter word. Right? What about V? V can be put here, or YV, or YV, or YV. I can't start it. I have to start it. Maximum, where can I start it? At the 4th position. Why? Because I have an extra. So that is your job. To take a word from the user, which is right there. You just have to copy and paste. And then place it randomly at a logical correct position in your puzzle. Not always starting from position 1. It could be any position as long as the word fits. It should fit. Okay? And then, now what is your job? Now your next job is, now the rest of the letters. So I'll remove the star just because star, I just did it for you. And you think, oh, it's already filled up. Why is she telling us? Bless you. So I'll fill with stars. I'll comment out, okay? This was just to show you that there are null characters. And now what I'll do is any elements that have not been used, that means they have the null character, I'm going to now replace it with star. I'm not doing your job for you that, oh, I'm going to show you later. But what will I do? I'll fill the unused elements with star. Now I do. Same thing. Go through the array. You have to browse the array. So let's look at fill unused elements. The logic remains the same. What is unused? Wherever there is a null character, that's unused. That was its default value when it started. So you didn't use it. So all I did was the two for loops starting from 0 till size -1. For each of this row starting from 0 till size -1. If the element is the null character, replace it with star. So now all the extra will now have stars. What is your job in the puzzle? Your job in the puzzle is not to replace them by stars, but to replace them randomly by any of the characters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, Z.
Instead of making another method, can we just make an each statement that is like...
Everything is a method. All requirements are in your assignment. Okay, so please follow the assignment requirements. I'm not spelling aside the assignment right now. I'm just kind of making you think, because when you see tomorrow, you can make a relationship. But if the assignment says make a method, you have to make a method, because star is simple, but choosing a random character will not take only an if, right? Choosing a random character will take more code. So therefore it goes in the method. Yes, your question, couldn't I have done these 5 lines in the main? I could have done it, but I never liked code in main at all. My main is only a call to, and that's exactly what I'm expecting of you also. No code in the main. If there is code in the main, of course, you get marks according to what the rubric says. Okay, so if you forget a method, you'll get maybe 1 out of 4. Because in a method, what do I see? Can you write the signatures? Do you know how to pass parameters? Do you know how to return it? And so on. So there is more to writing a method than just code. Okay. And I've also said that methods must communicate with each other via parameters and return values. Don't declare everything to be a class variable. Okay, so everything is marked and therefore it has 15% and you'll get a week for it. And just so that you know, it's not compulsory at all. You can work in pairs if you like. I'm not imposing it because if I impose it, people cry about it. If I don't do it, people say, why don't you let us not work in groups? So I've left it open. You can either work individually or you can work in pairs. Pairs, that's it. But keep in mind, working with a partner doesn't mean you sleep and the other partner works. At the end of the day, you are the loser. Working in pairs means putting two heads together and learning from each other. But what do some students do to help their friends? Okay, let's pair up. I'll do the work. We'll get the marks. You will pass the course. Sure, you will pass the course. But what will happen in the real life? Nobody is going to help you there. Okay, keep that in mind when you pair up. Okay, so I've even allowed that. So now I have filled it with stars. Your aim is to fill it with any random character. Let's see if it is working. So to do that, I fill it with stars and I display it again. And I have commented out filling with stars before. I've commented that out. That's gone. So all it does, it starts with an empty array. Then it will show you the names array. Then it will show you the names and the star. So 3 arrays will be now shown to you. Okay. So step by step, let's compile it. Let's go here. All this will come handy. So ask questions if you are stuck or you don't understand something. Okay. So that's the empty array to start with. That's my first display. I don't call it empty, there is no character. Okay, but there are 5 columns. I can put something in front of it to tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it will tell you that there are 5 rows and 5 columns. But I chose not to. Okay, so let's input names. Anju, Elkim, Shinhi is more, Yuki. Am I saying it right? Okay, and Jubhib is more. Adam has gone, but Adam was 4. Who else? No long names, long names. Viraj is in my, is this class? I can't remember, but I have a, no, his name is Vraj, sorry. I keep calling him Viraj. Anyway, there it is. Okay, so notice, I had I had the null characters to begin with. I gave 5 names. Anju went in the first one, Elkim in the second one, Yuki in the third one, Adam in the fourth one, and Vraj in the 5th one. Then the rest of the elements, any extra elements, I filled with stars. Your job will be to fill this unused slots randomly, not with a fixed character, not AAA everywhere or BBB everywhere, randomly. And I'll show you how to fill something randomly, not with necessarily this, but how to use a random function, just in case some of you have not even done your in-class on loops. It was there. So if you haven't done it, I'll again help you out. There was a big hue and cry last week, and I don't understand why, guys. Because this is a programming world. I can do an example. You have to do 10 examples and then do your assignment. Think of it like in kindergarten. The teacher teaches you the letters from A to Z. Does she or he teach you every word that exists in this world by combining letters? No. You have to learn them as you grow. Now, in my case, you will grow in your 2nd and 4th semesters in your Java. But I'm giving you the fundamentals. Take the fundamentals from me. At least understand how to use a 2-dimensional array. How to add numbers. How to find their average. How to test if a list is empty. How to use the random class. How to use the string class. How to use methods. That's more than enough for a fundamental course. And you'll say, give me more examples. I can't keep writing examples. Go on the web and you'll have thousands of examples. So last time I did string arrays and I gave you a question on numbers. People were complaining. You didn't do number arrays. Like, how can I do everything in class? Though I did a number array, but I did everything with strings. Guys, you have to learn and you will learn because there is no way out of programming. You can only learn by practicing. So now, lastly, what I've done for you, I've not done it straightforward, but I've shown you how you can display some random letters. combine this with your display names, you can get a solution for filling up the extra spaces with any character. Look at it. Logically, what do you want to do? Think of it before I show it to you. You have that set A to Z, A, B, C, D, E, F. It could be small, it could be capital, but you have those letters. You have a random class. How many letters in the alphabet? 26. You may not work with all 26. Maybe you only want to work with 10. That's okay. Put them in an array. Say I have 10 of them. Create a random number between 1 and 10. Pick it up. Put it in the slot. Job done. That's the logic, right? So you create an array of some letters. Use the random function to pick up a random number from a random position. You've done that in an assignment. Put it in an empty slot. Echo unused slot. Job done. So let's see how have I done it. I haven't done it for you. I've just done it for, I've written a method. So what did I do? I created a one-dimensional character because I want to save some characters. I chose some characters. You could put all the 26 if you want, in any order you want. You can repeat them if you want, though I wouldn't, like, what's the sense, right? So I took some characters on the go, like just for the heck of it, in no order. I just took some, I don't even know what the length is, but I just initialized it. Then I took an int and I called it random number. And I took the size and I say, what's your length? I have to know the length, how many. So you can fill it all 26, you can fill whatever you want. But you can't fill more than 26. There are only 26 letters in English, right? Then I said characters chosen at random from a given list of these many characters. That's the size. And notice all I have to do is, array, what's your size? And I don't have to count myself, right? And then here is the loop. I'm choosing 10 random letters. So the loop starts from 1, goes on to 10. You can do your counting. I'm just counting. I'm not saying pick up which element. Okay. I use the random function. I created a random number and I've used random dot next to it. Now this is something that you may not even, if you have not done your assignments, you may not recognize it. So this is just an int variable. Who is this random? Let's see who is this random. This random is just a random object. Like you have a new scanner. There it is. It's a random object. So random is a class in Java. There is a class called random in Java. And I've created an object of it called random. Sometimes it is confusing, but Java programmers are very bad for this. They create variables by the same name as the class. Right? I create a random object. And then I ask this random object, can you give me an int between 1 and the size of my? So how do I do that? I use a method. So there is another way of using random numbers. It's in the math class. I don't like to use it just because it returns a real number between 0 and 1, and then you have to do math with it. This one gives you an integer value. And notice, what am I saying? I'm using the next int method of the random class to get a random number in the range 0 to size minus 1. It's exactly this. And that's exactly what I want. From 0 to size minus 1 is the last element. I pick it up, put it in random number. From my array, at that position, I display the random number. So 10 random characters we choose. You know how to choose a random letter. So once you create a 2D character array, which is empty to start with, then you put your words in each of the rows at random positions. Then you fill up the unused slots by using something of this sort. Oh, that's all I did. I created a one-dimensional character array with some random letters. Then I used the next int method of the random class. Random is a random object of the random class. And I said, give me a number between 0 and size minus 1. That's what it does automatically. That's its property. That's its functionality. So it will pick up one of these numbers. And then I display it on the screen. How do I pick it up? The name of the array, at what position. You've done single dimensional arrays last week. Name of the array and the index. Where is the index value coming from? It's a random number. I don't know which position it will be. First, second, 0th, 12th, 5th, 6th. I have no idea. Some random numbers will come up. Let's see if it works. So the logic is here. So half the logic, I should say, definitely half or more than half the logic has been explained in class. I don't want to listen any crying about it now, really. Okay, let's see how it runs. Last one now. Random, some random numbers. So A, B, C, D, and D, E. Those are my names. So I'm just showing you 4 stars when there is only one letter, 3 stars when there are 2 letters, 2 stars, just to show you. And here is a list of random numbers that were picked up from that array. And see, some letters are repeated twice. It just chose the same position twice. When I didn't put it, I don't know. If you want to see what random numbers were generated, we can print it out. But this, it picked up P and P. Oh, picked up P again. So if you want to show what was the position, you can show that too. So here is how you can just pick up any random characters from the array. Just as an aside, because you're going to become Java programmers in future. This random generator is a pseudo random generator. Pseudo random generator means if I try to run my program a number of times, you will see that there is a pattern. The same letters come over and over again. Because that's how this random class is created. You'll say then it's not a random. Can we, like, it's computer is computer. It's not a human. If you tell me to think of a number, I can think of a different number every time because I'm thinking. But computer is a dumb machine. So it has been given an algorithm to do something. So it follows that algorithm. So you get the same number. But there is a solution. There is a solution. The solution is you can tell it where to start, kind of seed. It's called seeding. If you read the help of random class online in the APIs, you will see that there is a parameter called seed. Seed is what it means, seed. It's like if you have a seed that is red flowers will grow out of it. If you have a seed that is yellow flowers will grow. So if you give a seed to your random number generator, then every time you will have a different set of random numbers. Though they are still pseudo-random. They're still following an algorithm, but because the seed is different, you will have a different set. It's like saying start with 1. No, don't start with 1. Start with 5. Of course, you will have a different set. Start with 9. You will have a different set. So you say, how do I do that? It can be passed as a parameter to the constructor. Let me show you the random class. Maybe it will make more sense. So I'm going to pick up the random class from the Java API. See, this is the one I used, new random. There is one which says long seed. Give me a long value. Any long means an integer, a long integer. And it creates a new random number generator using a single long seed. This kind of ensures that every time you run your program, you will have a different set. If the seed changes, the set changes. If the seed changes, the set changes. But if the seed remains the same, which is this, I haven't given it a seed, so the system has a default seed value. Then if you run your programs, say 50 times, you will notice that maybe 30 or 20 times out of that, they have the same sequence because they are pseudo-random. Okay, this was just for your information. You don't have to bother about it. Don't bother about it. So here now, just to show you that, oh, it's a random number was picked up. Pick this up. Print this random number out. Let's print it out. Just so that you see, oh, I get a different number every time. And sometimes the same number. I don't know. Like, I really don't have any clue. That's why we are using it. And that's what you will use because you want to fill up the unused slots. Here. Let's show what are the random numbers that are generated. I have no clue, but they have to be generated between 0 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We have 11. So they should be generated between 0 to 10. Right? It shouldn't go beyond 10. Of course, it cannot go below 0. Okay, let's see. Let's compile this. And let's run it. Oh, I'll have to give the names again. Okay, so the first time the random number was 8. So it picked up T. Then it was 1, then 7, then 4. It picked up 4 again. It picked up 10. It won't go beyond 10 and not below 0 because it goes from 0 to 10. Why 10? Because the size of my array was 11. And what is the lowest index? 0. So the lowest is 0 and the highest is whatever you give in that next int boundary minus 1. And therefore I chose size because I knew I want to go to size minus 1. So you can show the random number that was created, and then T is the 8th random number. So 8th position is T. Check up in your code. Is the 8th position T? 8th means 9th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it picked up 9. So you can fill up your rest of your unused slots in your puzzle by something like this, using this logic. Right? The logic is here. All you have to do is just use it. So there was something coming from, I don't know from where it was coming. So I'll put an empty system out println. I saw that somewhere before. I'm putting that empty one just because this was coming on the same line. So there must be a printf below. Whenever you do a printf, I forget, and therefore I tell I'm kind of repeating it. It's always a good habit to put a %n at the end, which we usually forget. When the output comes and we say, oops, something is not neat. There, that tells you how to create a random letter from a set. So you have to create the set yourself. There are, though, I don't know, maybe one of you are really into it and can think about it. You don't even have to create this set. You can go to the Unicode character set that is already available, and you can say pick up anything that is in that range A to Z from my set. It's already defined in your character set. That's a little difficult to do. But they all have numbers. They're at a certain position. Have you ever seen the Unicode or the ASCII character set? All the characters that you use on your keyboard are in a set, like your alphabets. You have a letter alphabet. You have numbers. You have sets. Similarly, in computer, there is a set of characters. Every character is placed in that set, and every character has a unique position. So if you don't want to do it this way, you can say, oh, go to that set and pick up anything from A to Z small or A to Z capital. Really doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter. But I would like to keep your puzzle all lowercase for neatness kind of stuff. But if it is somebody's name or something like Christmas, then it starts with a capital C. So I'm not saying anything. So this was an easy way, instead of going and looking and using Unicode characters and what is the code of A, what is the code of Z, and doing all that, which, as I said, if you want to, sure, it's up to you. You can create your own set. I chose to work with 11 characters. Fill all the 26. Fill all the 26. There are no more than 26 letters. Fill all the 26 plus 26, small and capital. Then you have more choice. And pick up one at random and put it in the unused slots. Puzzle is ready. Assignment done. So half the assignment is here if you were paying attention. Of course, the assignment will say write this method, write this method, write this method, do this, and do this. Okay? So I have prepared you now for the assignment 3, which will be posted tomorrow. So if you would like to now work on something here in today's class as a bonus mark, it's up to you. I don't know what the time is. I'm saying bonus because, again, people will choose or people will not choose to. If you would like to work on some bonus, this way you'll have enough working in your assignment. I would like you to give this assignment to you, but it has to be done and finished and shown in class. There is nothing outside class for this. This two-dimensional array that I demonstrated for you, which was kind of asking for numbers and then displaying them, I would like you to show me the row totals and the column totals and the total of all numbers with either of the arrays. Use either of these. Use the float array if you want. Use the numbers array if you want. The integer array, whatever you want. But I want you to display with the numbers the total of each row, the total of each column, and the total of all the numbers. Okay? And that's a bonus. It's a bonus assignment. So if you want to do it, please go ahead and work on it, and I'll give you bonus marks for it. Okay, so you have 25, 20, and 20. Yep, more than enough. It should not take more than 10 minutes if you know what you're doing. So you have half hour to do it, and it's up to you. Bonus. So rows total means first row total. So rows, second row total, third row total, column 1 total, column 2 total, column 3 total, total of all the entries. It's just for loops, right? It's just for loops. So it's a bonus assignment. Anybody interested can do it. Who are not interested can try whatever they want. People who are wanting to show me their assignment from last week, the Array Lab can show it to me. So as a bonus assignment, please do this. Take whatever array you want and show me the totals of the rows and the totals of the columns, and then the total of everything. Okay, let's start. It's easy for you. Okay, run it for me. Okay, let's go ahead. Input the numbers, max the numbers. No, short forms. Please. I've been saying it from day one. What's max? Do you know what max is? That's it. So how much time does it take? Okay. Input the numbers, maximum limit is 10, to quit, enter a 0. Use the 0 without the quote because it seems as if 0 has to be given with quotes. Okay, good. Let's run it again. Let's give a couple of numbers. What about negative numbers? We're not allowed. Good. What about positive numbers? Are allowed. Good. 0 will stop. Good. 7 divided by, where is the average? The array is not putting there. Maybe you could have put some more spaces or put it on different lines. But the answer is correct. Because, see, as soon as I have more, they'll start. I won't be able to differentiate between the numbers. So put them on different lines. Okay, let's run it once more and give it the maximum, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And let me give a 10.0 because a real array was asked. See, it's so difficult to read what your 10 numbers are. Put it in a line. Okay. Monday section. So November 19th, right? So put them on a different line and then submit it on Blackboard. You can submit multiple times on Blackboard, I think. Okay. Double check and let me know and I'll make the change. Okay, next.
This is the
Lab?
the log.
Oh, the lab loops. That
Yeah.
was not for marks. That was just a practice lab.
Okay,
But the array
I
was.
did finish it.
Good. So did you do all of them?
I'm still working on the arrays one.
So how many did you do? How many questions were you able to cover in this one?
Also 17.
Okay. But remember, I've already put the solution of this long back. So if you had shown it to me before that, I was putting your name down for maybe an extra mark if required at the end. But solution is already up on that. So
Yeah,
I can't.
I wasn't aware of that, but-
Okay. But anyway. So if at the end something is short, we'll see about it. Okay?
Okay.
Yes, thank you. Let me do it. Enter 10 real numbers. You have the option to quit anytime the entry is 0. Okay, let me enter a 0 then. The program has ended. Very good. Let's do it again. Let's enter a negative number. Okay, so you should, then your message is wrong. It says quit anytime by entering number 0, but you've quit at -1 also. So you say quit anytime by entering a number less than or equal to 0. Right?
Yeah.
Because
I know this is young thing.
yeah, otherwise it should say this number is wrong, please input it, right? So either way, one or the you have to do. If you say 0, then I give a -1, that means something wrong in the logic. But if your logic says only positive numbers can be given, then please. Yeah, so just change the message. Yeah. So and don't put 0 in quotes or anything because it's not text, it's a number. Okay. Okay, so we'll go 2 and we'll go 5 and we'll go a 0. So that means I can stop by negative numbers also. So 7 should be the average. Perfect. Okay, now let's run it once again and do it with all 10. 1, 2, 3, 4.0 just to see because you said real numbers are allowed. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. 5.5. Perfect. Okay. So just the message needs to be changed. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes. Please input the numbers must be greater than a spelling of greater is missing. A maximum of 10 can be given. You have the option to quit any time by entering -1. Okay.
It's not running right now.
Okay. So the numbers must be greater than 0 and I can quit by -1. Okay. So basically, if I give a -2, what does it do?
Yeah, you're not running anyway, so.
Okay, so if it has given a message that it is a negative number, you can't ask for number 2. You should still be on number 1.
Okay.
Because that number has to be ignored. So now I will only be able to read 9 numbers. You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have to change that.
Okay.
So either you don't allow the user to give input at all, negative input. You say only positive is allowed. But if you allow the user to give negative and you're saying it is not allowed, like I said it is not allowed, then you should ask for that number again.
Okay.
So I'm assuming now I can only give 9.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, see? So it has taken a space. So
Okay.
rectify that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's run it again. How do you run it? Oh, there. What are you using? NetBeans. Oh, okay. Okay. So input by -1. If I stop at the first one, you decide. Okay. Now, if I decide to stop, then I should not see this. See, it says list of numbers. Then it says the average is -1.
Yeah, you told me you said that in the time.
No, did I?
Yeah, if you stop, to give a -1, that's it.
Oh, okay. I changed it up for the other group, not for you guys.
I just
Okay.
gave a list of numbers, just kept saying that you didn't put any.
Okay. Okay. So
But I
you
can change
change that. Oh, I said return a -1. I remember now. Yes, you're right. The Monday section I did. Okay, that's fine then. Let's run it again. And now, so I've checked -1, but you're showing a -1. My aim was going back and it's correct because I asked for it. But when I return a -1, you should say the list is empty. That's what is the use of returning a -1. That the average does not exist.
Yeah, that's what. Well, I mean, I did like a workaround because like the average doesn't exist. So like.
But you showed me that the average was -1.
Yeah.
So you should. I mean, all the use. It is one of the way of saying there is no average.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't say the average is -1, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
just did
that you can
because
fix,
that's what
yeah.
It said, so I haven't
It
changed
said
it.
return it. It didn't say write it. But anyway, that's okay. So, okay, so now let's run it. So we've done a -1. Okay, so you still have to do that minus thing out.
Yeah.
If you want, this is what you want to submit, I can give you marks for this too. Okay. And now less than 1. So 1, 2.5. Oops, it was a real error.
Yeah.
So, but I can give a 2.5. So you've made it an int again. Yeah. No, I think you've done a next int.
I guess I did.
Yeah. This shows
No,
me.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I have to just kind of write these things down because I'm marking you as you're giving it to me. So I can only give positive numbers and they have to be integers. Oops, that's too late, but anyway. Okay, so now your name?
Chris.
Chris Edmund?
Yeah, ERM, yeah.
Okay, so here are your problems and right in front of you so that you know, right? The first one. Oh, negative numbers are allowed.
Yeah.
So your marks will be according to what you've given me, okay?
Okay.
2, the -1 average is something that you should have said no list, but that's, I'm foregoing that. What else was, what else did we say?
I think you just did.
Oh, real numbers.
Yeah.
It should be a real number,
Yeah. No.
only ints.
Yeah.
Okay, there. If you want to change it and put it back, it's up to you, but this is what I have done it. If you want to change it right away and can do it, I can give you full marks.
Okay. Cool.
But otherwise, this is what you get, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Kind of, these are your problems.
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, let's start. Please input the numbers, a maximum of 10. You have the option to put any time by entering 0. Okay, so if no numbers were provided, let's not print anything at all. If there are no numbers, there's nothing to print. Right, so this message, no numbers were provided, is good enough. Why are you showing me the total and the average? Right, so remove that, okay? Does it make sense? No. Okay, so now can I give real numbers or no?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Now can I give negative numbers and it says something? And it's asking, so it will ask for 10 numbers now? Perfect. So the only thing that is not right is removing that. So call those methods of displaying an average only if the list is not working, right? What's your last name?
Nakrani. NK.
Sorry, first name.
PRWT.
Preet.
Yes.
Okay. So you have to just kind of just remove that and show it to me, and I can remove this. I can remove this, and then you can get full marks. Okay. Please enter real numbers to find the average. A maximum of 10 can be given. Every number must be greater than 0. You can quit. You can quit. Okay. So let's do a minus. Okay. Let's put the mess. Oh. So why is it showing me the number? No, the numbers are so. Oh, yeah, but then don't. Since you know there is nothing, don't show anything. Just give me this. There were no numbers. Okay, do. Oops. Okay, only do that. Oops. Where did I go? Okay, there. Right. So do that. Change, because if there are no numbers, that's okay. But don't. Oops. Okay, you go ahead and bring that Java thing back. Just use your arrow keys to go back to a previous command. It's too far off. Okay, so what was it? Java something? Okay. So remove that message, okay? Okay, so you cannot enter. Okay, so let me enter a positive number. Let me enter a negative number, because negative numbers are not allowed. Oh, okay, so let's do -2 then. Is that okay? It should say it will not accept it. Okay, so 0 should also not be allowed, right? Perfect. Okay, that's okay then. And -1. Okay. Okay, and now let's do it giving all the numbers. So only that message has to be taken care of. Where can I go? Okay. No. How do I go to your previous message? Why is this? Oh, these arrows. Okay. Okay. So let's go all now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'll give a 10.0 since you said it was a real number. Just to see. Okay, so remove those messages, just that message, and just simply say the list is empty and you're good to go.
And then should I submit it again too?
And submit it again, and if you can do it right away, I can look at it again. Parker. Parker, last name? Burke. Guys, if the list is empty, I don't want to see anything except the list is empty, okay? The whole idea that the average returns -1 is that tell me there is no average. Don't tell me the average is -1. That's when you return a bad value from a method to say, oh, something is wrong. There is a better way. I did it. You count yourself when you're reading and don't call those methods. Okay. Input the numbers 10 can be entered. Entered E should be small. Don't forget your grammar. You will lose marks everywhere otherwise. You can quit anytime by entering 0. Okay, so let's enter the 0. See, again, why are you showing me the total and the other? It doesn't make sense. You're telling me no numbers were provided, and then you're saying the total is 0. So remove that. Think about it yourself too, right? Would you like to see that? Where you're saying there is no input, but here is your output? No, you wouldn't. Okay, so -1. Greater than 0 it says. So let me go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and okay, we can get away with this dashes. It looks very untidy. And let's give it a heading like list of numbers. Okay. Okay. Let's run it once more now and see if I can stop by giving 1 and a 2 and a 0. Oh, I didn't check for no. 3.5 and a 0. 3 and 2 is 5 and 6.5 divided by 3. Looks okay. So remove those messages. And again, see, in formatting average, you could have, since like that. Your name? Sorry? Abhinav. Okay, so remove that message, okay? And then show it to me again. No.
There was one error.
Still.
Yeah, but that was, I guess, that was solved with a try and catch. I researched about that.
What was it?
So that if I enter the first number is 0. It's stating that the list is empty, but it's giving me a null point exception.
Oh, that means you're going and trying to find the average, and it's not a try exception, it's just an if statement that we need.
Oh.
And
That's-
are classes named in that convention? Are those the convention of naming a class? How are classes
Oh, no.
named in Java?
That's with that.
Okay, so you'll lose marks in the assignments, right? Yeah, I'm just telling you, because all this will come. So I can't enter 0 as the first one. It is giving me a null pointer
No,
exception.
it would give an answer, but yeah, it would give.
Yeah, so you have an error, which you should take care of, which you haven't. And it's nothing to do with try catch. And we don't write arrays empty, we say list. No computer jargon here in outputs. Okay? It's for a common user. Okay, let's try this now. Enter a new number. How do I stop? How do I stop?
It's going to 0.
Will I need your help to run your program?
No.
No, I shouldn't need your help, right? See, no headings. Nowhere does it tell me input has ended here, output has started. Nothing. It just kind of is like rough work. Averages has no space after it. You have to be very careful. You have to be professional, right? None of the, like, average A is small, grammatical error, no space after the A's. Doesn't tell me how to stop. Doesn't tell me where the output starts. So all these small things do matter, and you have to take care of it. Okay? And this is for your good. Okay. Ishan, right? Okay, so
What about that? What is that for?
what is what for? Sorry?
That exception which was coming.
It's not an exception. You just have to put an if statement somewhere. I look at it. Let me just mark the others and then I look at it, right? Right? Run it. You're showing me the one with the 0, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Done. So you have full marks in it, okay? Yes, Bobby. Okay. How many numbers greater than 0 would you like to store in the array? Can I give a negative number and it checks?
Right.
Okay, so let's go with 10. So,
Give 0.
so okay. Enter any numbers that are greater than 0. What happens if I give 0? It must be greater than 0. So how do I stop them?
Oh, yeah.
I have to
at
give-
the end.
I have to give 10?
You have to give, yeah, I guess you have to at the.
Oh,
I
so
think-
I can give less than 10. Okay. I can't give a
you have to
negative
enter in
number.
how many numbers you enter at the
Okay,
end.
but remember we said it could be less than the number also. This is all asking you maximum.
Yeah.
But maximum is 10. I could enter less than 10 also.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Yeah, right.
Okay, so I have to enter 10 that means. Okay, so let's
No,
enter.
you can enter less than 10, but you just can't quit out at any time that you want.
But how do I quit then if I enter? Yeah, but that is the size is less than 10. The assignment was the size is 10, but I can enter less than 10.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Here, of course, if I run it with 5, but the question was that up to 10 numbers.
10.
Up to 10 is
Okay.
less than 10. So I have to give 10 in your case, okay? So that's the only, so I can't check anything else that means. So it is checking that input 0 and -1 are not allowed, but otherwise I have to give 10 numbers, right?
No, like here, watch. If you run it again, you can enter.
Yeah, I know when we run it again is a
Yeah.
different question. I'm talking in one run.
Oh, okay.
Right? Okay, so what is this 10? And the average is wrong. The average is 5.5. That means you've taken your average to be a int and you haven't. Okay, that means you haven't allowed for. Oops, no, not you. I think you haven't worked with. Yep. Real numbers were also allowed. Okay. So basically, I'll write what you have done and give you marks for that. So exactly 10 integers need to be given, right? Or whatever maximum, but exactly those many.
Yeah.
And then the average is, I don't know, is incorrect because I think it's in the formula or wherever. I can look at it if you want.
Formula for average is just total
Because you've taken all
divided by
total
the
divided by the number. So
Yeah.
all integers will give you, addition of integers will give you an integer. Dividing by 10 or 5 or 6 will also give you an integer. Integer divided by integer is an integer. So the answer is always an integer. I'll give you marks for what you've done, okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Let's edit here. It's easy to see. Okay. Okay. Okay, so when it creates it, I don't want them random characters. It's just an empty one to begin.
Okay.
Now you will ask, you said 26, right? The size was 26 of your array, right? What are you doing? Trying to create a puzzle of size 25 into 25?
Yeah.
Oh, that's quite a big puzzle. Okay.
Well, it takes the input, so I don't know.
No.
Should it just be predetermined?
No, it shouldn't be, but I'll give you smaller puzzles so that I don't have to work it. I don't have to make 25 parts. Okay. So you tell me the size of the grid, of the puzzle, we'll say, and you say 25. So it creates a 25 into 25. Good enough. Now you will ask for 25 words from the user.
Okay.
The first word goes in the first row. The second one, that's why 25 was a huge number.
Yeah.
So you ask for 25 words and then start putting them one word per row. Right? Now when you put it in the row, you can either start at position 0 or 1 or 2 or 3 depending upon the length of your word. Not what random position will depend. Suppose I give you Anju and your random position comes here and I can't store A and G in here. So you have to decide what is the range of my random position. From now yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay.
Size of the array and the size of the word. Some math with it will tell you till where you can go.
Okay.
And then you place it and then fill the rest with random letters.
Okay.
And everything has to be done in methods. So
Yeah.
don't kind of go too ahead. Figure out the logic, but when the assignment comes tomorrow, then start putting it.
Okay.
Okay? Yes. What was missing or what was not happening?
That if there's no numbers.
Oh yeah, they left
no
empty.
numbers.
Okay, so let's. The negative number, oh, negative ones, you can quit. So your was quitting by -1. So what was happening in the other one? Was all okay?
Yeah, everything was fine except when there was no numbers given, it said like
Okay.
numbers are.
You still not having giving me the same message?
No, that's for the, you said give the negative
Nothing.
1 if the average is 0.
No, that
For the
returns
difference,
it.
no.
I don't want you to display it. That's what I'm saying. Only display there were no numbers given. I don't want to see anything else. That's what I said. You were showing this. I only want to say there were no numbers given.
Oh, okay, because in the instructions said if the
Yeah,
average
it
is like.
returns it. It doesn't print it, I said. The method returns it.
So I said to take away -1.
I don't know what you've done. I've
No,
never
that's
told
what
you to. Did I tell you to print the average in that method? Show me the method. I just want to see this message. There were no numbers given. That's all I want to see. Is that the average method? Okay. Now where is the average method? Okay, so average is going to return a float. Okay, so now come to your display. So this method display is only called if the list is not empty. Then your message will be ready. Where do you call this? Where do you call it? Show me. Okay, yeah, because you're not even checking if my first number. Therefore, you're right in saying that, oh, this method returns a -1.
Mhm.
But did I tell you to print it? No.
That's awesome.
No. So that was a kind of a oh, if it is -1, the list is empty.
Oh, I thought it was if the list is empty and there's no average printed.
No.
one.
It only said the method returns -1. That was a way of you to say, oh, if it is returning a -1, the list is empty. I should only say the list is empty. So actually here, it can make better, but here, after you get the average, you put an if statement here. If average is not equal to -1, call the display output. Else say the list is empty. Okay? That was the use of returning the minus.
I fixed the one thing.
One thing is fixed. Which one?
For the numbers. So it doesn't add up.
Okay, so that's one you fixed. Okay. So it will now ask for 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so one job done.
Yeah.
What about the others?
I haven't done it yet.
Okay, go ahead and so negative numbers are allowed. You can take care of that easily. No,
Yeah.
yours.
Oh yeah, I switched that too. Actually, I'm pretty sure.
So now negative numbers are not allowed, right? You've taken
No.
care of that.
I have to fix the negative number one too, but that'll take 2 seconds.
Okay, sure.
But
Go
I
ahead.
fixed
The ints,
the
floats.
up and down one. Just this.
Yeah. So this one, that means that's okay. That I understand.
Yeah.
What about negative floating numbers? Not yet.
No,
Okay.
I got
Just
that.
change it. It will take a minute.
Yeah.
Exactly. That makes sense, right? So if the average is returning a -1, you're basically saying there is no list. Actually, you shouldn't even call the average. But anyway, if it is given, it is given. That's done. Preet. So Preet is fine now. Okay. Done. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So this is the space.
Okay, let's run it. This program will take 10 numbers, calculate their average and print them out. Please enter 10 positive real numbers if you want to. Okay, so let's enter a 0. Okay, now let's run it again. Let's give a negative number.
It's gonna do the same. I just made it so that it's-
Okay, so then your message is wrong. So you should say if you want to quit. No.
Oh, okay.
If you want to exit, you said enter 0. Then you should say enter a number 0 less than.
All right.
Right? The message has to change. That's it. Okay, so run it again. Change the message. I'm just going by your message, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so now let's enter 1 and a 2.5 or whatever, yeah, real number, and then a 0. 1 to 2.5.
Hang on, I'm just doing 1 and 2.5.
No, that's okay. Go from 1 to 10 now. Given 1 to 10 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4 till 10, okay? Okay. Okay, so just change the message of taking input because it tells me, oh,
Yeah. Originally it was, it did take negative numbers.
okay, your name,
No.
Noah. Noah, last name? Like in bird? Okay. Okay, I think I did.
I'm pretty sure I showed it to you. Yep.
There you are. Did it. Oh, Alchem, you've shown me again. You showed me previous. Oh, Alchem is gone. Okay. If I see 2 names, that means, okay. Yes. Oh, okay, okay. Let's see. So which one have you added up? Which array?
3 and 4. INT.
So where are you asking for values?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll have to run it. Okay.
I'm not displaying the array, but I just copied that. I just added and displayed the array.
I want to see the array, otherwise how will I know?
Okay, I just add all lines to.
Because I won't know whether the answer is right or wrong, right? You're saying the sum of what is this?
Yeah.
So show me the array and then show me the answers. Guys, you have 4 minutes more to show me your bonus if you're interested. I only have one guy here. That's okay. It's not a big job, but it will give you some practice, which is fine. Okay. Unless you show me the numbers, how will I know? Everything 1.
I'm just seeing if the array is displayed or not.
Okay. Okay, so where are the row totals and end?
Uh,
Oh, the displaying is done afterwards and the result is before? Okay. You are in hurry, right?
I just need the bonus marks because I'm not passing. So
Okay. It won't give you 100 bonus marks.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many do I have to give? What was
Three
the
and
size?
four.
12.
Yeah, 12.
1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 in a row?
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8,
4.
9, 10. It only took 10. Oh, we are running the
because-
wrong one. You're running the. Oops.
Sorry.
That's okay. Okay. Enter 12 numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will go. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's row number 1, right? Let's do 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so where do I see now?
The rows and the
Oh
columns.
God, I can remember now. It was 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me your answers. 4
10,
and 3, 7, 2, 9, 10.
10, 6, 10.
6, 10.
Yeah.
Hmm.
3, 6, 7, 10.
Yes.
And the total is 26
26 seems to be wrong.
for the whole array.
26 is wrong. Because
Yes,
see,
this is
no? 10 and 10 is coming
10,
here.
6,
Oh, because
10.
they're added at 2 places. Oops, okay. So,
This
10, 10, 26. 26? What's your name?
Vandit.
Vandit. Vandit, I just saw something of yours, right? Did I see?
The average one.
Where's your name? There.
Vandit.
Okay.
Well,
Did bonus on summing rows and columns. Okay. 2D.
So, if you give a negative number now, we
Okay.
add it to the,
Yeah.
and then
Real number. Okay. And other things were working right? The minus ones we
that's
oops.
just gonna figure it out.
Oops. Okay.
That's just
So just give 1.5. Yeah. Just give one more and give a, what is it? Minus 1. Okay. Now, okay. Right. Okay.
I can.
Yes, that's fine. I just want to remove
It's Chris.
Chris E. There, only ints are allowed. Okay. Done. Perfect.
Okay. And I guess we upload this to
Yes.
Blackboard.
Yes, yes. Please do.
Thanks.
Did we put any statement? Good. So that's what was the use of returning a -1 for value. I wouldn't even call that, but instead of. Okay. So let's run it. By quit by any time giving that minus. Okay. We'll say list instead of arrays, okay? We talk arrays in class. When we write programs, we call them lists. Okay, done. Now what? Oh, the one with the 0? Okay. It's coming from line number 28 and display. Okay, open it. So display. Let's see what line number. Yeah, so we are line number 95 and 28. Open up so that we can see. Is it an array of integers?
no, it's
Once you open it, I want to see the error. Now what, guys? There's another class. We have to move out of this office, of this class. You can come to my office if you like, but I have a meeting at 3:30, so be quick, okay? I'll be there. There's another class we have to move on.
What is the office again?
Sorry?
Where's the office again?
A155. You're welcome. I'll be there in 5 minutes, okay? Yeah, but I have to leave. There is a meeting, so I will have to leave at 3:30.